this man named Jesus, who she believed to be the Messiah. In both cases, the words come, see, are an invitation to experience something or someone new. In both cases, the invitation to come, see, is intended to generate a personal decision about the new thing, or that new one. So what does come, see invoke for these women at the tomb? Remember first what they thought that they had come to see when the story began. When these women set out at the dawning of this day, they were on their way to prepare the corpse according to the traditions of their time. The embalming process had begun on Friday afternoon, but because of the Sabbath restrictions against work, it could not be finished until now. So here are the women, ready to complete their somber task. They come to see the truth that all things end in death. But that was interrupted along the way. And they instead are invited to experience Easter's stunning reversal on a personal level. Come, see. You see, before they could go and tell the good news, they had to know the good news themselves. Before they could speak the truth, they had to experience the truth. And they were invited to come and see for themselves before they could go and tell. Today, this very Easter, we are invited to come, see. And this is the gift of Easter, to linger for a while at the empty tomb, empty of Jesus, but now full of hope, of new beginnings, new possibilities. We are invited to come, see, to experience the truth ourselves. It's important business, this coming and seeing. It's the equivalent of owning faith rather than merely hearing about it, of having a personal encounter with the risen Christ rather than just being exposed to a second-hand version. Come see was not merely an invitation to see that the body was missing. Come see was a call to trust that the powers of this world that brought about Jesus' execution did not possess the power and authority that they claimed, because they could not control death. Come see was to know that death is not the final word for us or for creation. Come see provides us this foundation for a faith and a witness able to defy those who stake their position on violence and death. Why? Because Easter bids us, come, see for yourselves the life-giving, resurrecting power of God. Come, see for ourselves the risen Christ. Come see what it means to live with hope, victory, forgiveness secured. We talked about that on Good Friday. Forgiveness secured. Come see, experience the personal truth. Experience the grace of God revealed, made known in the resurrection, in the person of Jesus. Come, see, experience a personal, life-changing encounter with the risen Jesus. And be changed by that. Think about what that means for us in our day-to-day lives as we go from this place, as we go back to school or work or homes or wherever it is come Monday morning. How will that impact that we have come and we have seen seen that we have a personal encounter with the risen Christ. As we meet face-on health issues, as we go through various transitions in our lives, as I know many of you are going through. Many of you have difficult work situations. You're seeking direction. You're trying to deal with your kids, or your spouse, or your parents, or all of the above. As you walk through the hallways at school, at Glenview or Stewart or Laurier or wherever you might be, as you're sitting in class, as you're sitting at your desk, as you're standing at the assembly line, when you're in the office, wherever you might be, as you're sitting around the community center or in the arena or out on the baseball field, as you're making decisions, as you're trying to get priorities figured out, as you look at yourself and you think about yourself, you think about others. Because when we have come and we have seen, then we encounter hope. Then we encounter purpose. Then we encounter forgiveness. And then we encounter new possibilities, new hope, new life. Come and see so that we can go and tell. A first-year student in seminary, and Kyle, don't take this one to heart, right? A first-year student in seminary was told by the principal that he should plan to preach the sermon in the chapel the following day. We had never preached a sermon before, so he was nervous and afraid. So he stayed up all night, but in the morning, he didn't have a sermon. So he stood in the pulpit and looked out at his classmates and said, "Do you know what I'm going to say?" All of them shook their heads and said, "No." And he said, "Neither do I. The service has ended. Go in peace." Well, the principal was not very happy. "I'll give you another chance tomorrow, and you'd better have a sermon." Again, the young man stayed up all night, and again, he couldn't come up with a sermon. So the next morning, he stood in the pulpit and he asked, "Do you know what I'm going to say?" And the students all nodded their heads, yes. "Then there's no reason to tell you," he said. "The service has ended. Go in peace." Now the principal, you can just imagine Dorcas getting. Now the principal was really angry. "I'll give you one more chance. If you don't have a sermon tomorrow, you will be asked to leave the seminary." Again, no sermon came. And the young man stood in the pulpit next day and asked, "Do you know what I'm going to say?" Half of the students nodded yes, and the other half nodded their heads no. The student preacher announced, "Those who know tell those who don't know. The service has ended. Go in peace." Well, the seminary principal walked over to the student and put his arm over the student's shoulder and said, "Those who know tell those who don't know. Today the gospel has been proclaimed." Easter's call, Jesus' call to come and see, remains such a summons to a gracious possibility that life in Christ still speaks the final word. And the call comes to us to make that the word, the basis for our lives, our hope, and our trust. And once we've experienced the word as personal truth, once we have come and seen the grace of God revealed in the raising of Jesus, then like those women at the tomb, we have something to go and to talk about, to go and live about, to go and serve about. That's Jesus' resurrection power. That's earthquake, Easter earthquake faith. With the power to transform lives, change lives, our lives, lament. Come, see, and then go.